Hey, this video was made just for you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Now let's study about the electric current. An electric current is the flow of electrons through a conductor. Quantitatively, current is denoted by I and it is defined as the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. So that is the definition of current. It is defined as the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. Even though electrons move from negative end to the positive end, conventionally the direction of current flow is taken to be opposite of the direction of flow of electrons. That is from the positive end to the negative end of a cell. So we know that electrons flow from negative end to positive end, but conventionally is that is how scientists have denoted it, that they have considered the flow of current in the opposite direction as the flow of electrons, and we just have to know this point. Therefore the flow of current would be from the positive end to the negative end of the cell. If the charge q is flowing through the cross section of a conductor in time t, then the current, which is I, is equal to q upon t. So this is a very important formula and we need to know this. Here it is telling us that I, that is the current, is equal to q, which is the charge, upon the time t. The unit of charge in SI unit is called coulomb and current is expressed in ampere. The charge of one electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 9 coulomb. This is also a very important value. It is telling us the charge that is present in one electron. Electrons are very, very tiny. Therefore, they have very small charge and therefore the charge is in 10 raised to minus 19. That is how small the charge of one electron is. Ampere. 1 ampere current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 coulomb charge flows through it every second. How did they get this line? We know that I is equal to q upon t. I would be in ampere, q has a unit of coulomb, and time would have the unit of seconds. Therefore, we will say that 1 ampere current will be flowing in a conductor if 1 coulomb of charge flows through it every 1 second. Do you know very small values of current are expressed in the following units? Here 1 milliampere is 10 raised to minus 3 ampere and 1 microampere is 10 raised to minus 6, and this is same with all kinds of units. Wherever there is milli, it will be 10 raised to minus 3, and wherever there is micro, it will be 10 raised to minus 6. The French mathematician and scientist Ampere conducted a number of experiments on electricity. Today, we can measure the current flowing in a conductor only because of his extraordinary work. Therefore, the unit of current is called ampere in recognition of his great work. So, Ampere was a scientist, and because of his contribution to science, they have named the unit of current as ampere, which was his name. Now, let us solve some examples. A current of 0.4 ampere flows through a conductor for 5 minutes. How much charge would have passed through the conductor? So here they are giving us the value of I and the value of T, and they are asking us the value of Q. So they have given us I is equal to 0.4 ampere and they have given us T in minutes. But the SI unit for time is in seconds. So we have to convert this 5 minutes into seconds. And each minute is 60 seconds. Therefore 5 minutes would be 5 into 60, which is 300 seconds. So now we have everything except for the value of Q. And we know I is equal to Q upon T. And when you rearrange this formula, we will get Q is equal to I into T. And we have to substitute the value of I, that is 0.4 ampere, and T, which is 300 seconds. So once you multiply this, we will get the value of 120. and Q is charge, which has a unit of coulomb. Therefore, the charge passing through the conductor would be 120 coulomb. The next topic is resistance and Ohm's law. Let us learn about Ohm's law. The relationship between the current flowing through the wire, which is I, and the potential difference across its end, that is V, can be obtained from the law that was given by the German scientist whose name was George Simon Ohm. So he told us the relation between the current as well as the potential difference. If the physical state of a conductor remains constant, the current I flowing through it is directly proportional to the potential difference between its two ends. So this is what he told us. He told us that the physical state, as long as the conductor is in the same physical state, that is solid or liquid, if it remains in the same physical state, then the current flowing through it would be directly proportional to the potential difference between its ends. So that is what we have written here, where I is directly proportional to V. And when you remove the directly proportional sign, we have to put a constant symbol on either end. Therefore, I would be equal to K into V, where K is the constant of proportionality. And when you take K on the other side of the equal to, then we would get I into 1 by K, which is equal to V. And they have written this 1 upon K, which is a constant, they have renamed it using the symbol of R. And this R is nothing but the resistance of the conductor. Resistance of the conductor means this is something that is obstructing the flow of current. So I into R is equal to V, where 1 upon K is equal to R. So therefore, when we rearrange this formula, we would get V is equal to I into R, or R is equal to V upon I. This is nothing but rearrangement of the same formula. And this is nothing but Ohm's law. We can obtain the SI unit of resistance from the above example. So we know the unit of V and we know the unit of I. Therefore, we can easily find the unit of R. The potential difference and current are measured in volts and ampere respectively. Therefore, the unit of resistance is called ohm, and it is indicated by the symbol of omega, which is a Greek alphabet. So, ohm is nothing but V, that is volt, upon I, that is ampere. Because potential difference was denoted by volt and current is denoted by ampere. And resistance is ohm. So, therefore, we know that the resistance of 1 ohm is if 1 ampere of current flows through the conductor when 1 volt potential difference is applied between its ends. Then the resistance of the conductor is 1 ohm. So this is nothing but the formula itself, where 1 ohm would be equal to 1 volt upon 1 ampere. Now let us study what is resistance and resistivity of a conductor. As shown in the figure, there are a large number of free electrons in the conductor, which we had seen earlier. Each conductor has many free electrons because each electron is very tiny. Therefore, one conductor has many free electrons. Because as you remember that a metal conductor has loosely attached electrons in the outermost orbit, and because of that these electrons can freely move outside the respective atom, and they were known as free electrons. They are constantly in random motion because they are free. When a potential difference is applied between the two ends of the conductor, these electrons start moving from the end at lower potential to the end of the higher potential. And this also we had studied earlier, because the electrons move from lower potential to higher potential. This directional motion of the electrons causes the flow of current. So because of the movement of electrons, we have the flow of current. Moving electrons strikes the atom and ions, which lie along their path. Such collisions cause hindrance to the flow of electrons and oppose the current. This hindrance is called as the resistance of the conductor. So resistance is nothing but the ability of these hindrance that are present in the conductor which are obstructing the flow of electrons. Now for example, if this is the conductor, then there are electrons which are flowing in the forward direction, but there are atoms which are present, and these atoms contain other substances like ions also which are present in them. So when these electrons are trying to move, they sometimes hit these ions and it causes them to put more effort to go in the forward direction, and this is nothing but the resistance of the conductor. This is the German physicist George Simon Ohm who established a law for measuring the resistance of a conductor. In his honor, the unit of resistance is called as ohm. So this was the German scientist who, because of his contribution to science, we name the resistance unit as his name, that is ohm. Now let us study what is resistivity. This is different from resistance. We will learn what is resistivity now. At a given temperature, the resistance R of a conductor depends on its length L, area of cross section A, and the material it is made up of. So, different conductors are made of different materials, and therefore they all have different types of resistance. And this resistance depends on the length. For example, if this is our conductor, then the resistance would depend on the length, that is this much. Then it will also depend on the area of cross section and what material it is made up of. Because if it is a very dense material, then it will have lots of ions, and that will cause a lot of hindrance, that is a lot of obstruction for these electrons that have to pass through. But if it is made of if it is made up of such a material that has less hindrance, that is less obstruction, then the electrons can move faster through it. So therefore the resistance also will depend on the type of material it is made up of. If the resistance of a conductor is R, then R is directly proportional to the length. Also, R is inversely proportional to the area. For example, if this is a conductor and this is another conductor which has a bigger length. So, throughout the conductor, there are going to be ions in both these conductors. So, the longer the conductor is, the more number of ions, and therefore the more obstruction for the flow of electrons. Therefore, R is directly proportional to L. Now, let us see two different kinds of conductors with the same length but different cross section. For example, imagine this is one conductor and this is another conductor. Both have same lengths, but the cross section is different. Here, because this conductor has a very small cross section, therefore the electrons, there are many ions in the path of the electron. But here they are all spread out. Therefore, the electrons can easily pass through the ions. Therefore, now the more the cross-sectional area, the less the resistance. That is, the less obstruction the electrons will have. Therefore, the resistance would be inversely proportional to the area of cross-section of the conductor and directly proportional to the length of the conductor. Now, when you combine these two, we get R is directly proportional to L upon A. And when you remove the symbol of proportionality, we have to put a constant. And here the constant is denoted by rho, which is a Greek alphabet. So rho is the constant of proportionality, and this rho is called the resistivity of the material. The unit of resistivity in SI unit is ohm meter. So how did we get this ohm meter? Let us see. Now we know this formula, R is equal to rho L upon A. So if we rearrange it, we would get rho is equal to R into A. When we put A from this side of the equal to the other side, it will go in the numerator, upon L. Now let us write the units of each of these. We know R has a unit of ohm, A is the area, and we know area has a unit of meter square, and length would be meter. So we will cancel meter and meter, one of the meters, and we would get ohm meter as the unit of rho. Resistivity is a specific property of a material, and different materials have different resistivity because each material is built differently. So they will all have different amount of ions and the different arrangement of atoms in them. Therefore, the resistance of each of them will be different, and therefore resistivity would also be different for different materials. Here are the resistivity of some materials. So these are already been found by scientists, and the copper has a resistivity of 1.7 into 10 raised to minus 8 ohm meter. Nichrome has a resistivity of 1.1 into 10 raised to minus 6 ohm meter, and diamond has a resistivity of 1.62 into 10 raised to 13 to 1.62 into 10 raised to 18 ohm meter. Here you see the resistivity of copper and nichrome is very low because it has 10 raised to minus 8 and minus 6. But diamond has 10 raised to 13. So what does this tell us? It tells us that the resistivity of diamond is very, very high. And because of this, the resistance is very high for diamond. Therefore, electrons will have a lot of difficulty to pass through it, and therefore current will have a lot of difficulty to pass through it. Therefore, diamond is a poor conductor of electricity.
For the answers to this exercise and other free worksheets, please go to jkacademypro.com.